Hey YouTube, it is Community Day tomorrow, and it is the Dragon Community as it has been for the last few Junes, and the Dragons ones are always the good ones. Usually they are very relevant and make these Pokemon better. This move does make this Pokemon better. It's actually a very good move, so we're going to look at it. We're going to look at what it means for the Great League, Ultra League, Master League, and then more importantly, what it could mean in the future for other Dragons. So it's Jangmo-o. Will appear more frequently in the wild, evolve Hakmo into Kommo-o, and you will get this new Clanging Scales move. The main bonus is 3 times XP for catching, so if you want to get some XP, throw in that lucky egg, you're going to have a good chance to make some XP. The rest of the stuff is the same. As you know, we are going to skip everything else on this list because that does not matter to us. What matters to us is this new move. And this move is actually incredible if you look at it. So I've just got 2 moves up here right now because these are the moves that you need to know for Kommo-o. Right now the moveset is Dragon Claw and Close Combat. Now I guess the only negative you can potentially look at is that they are now recommending that you run double dragon moves on this Pokemon. As you can see here, it's just spoiler alert for rankings. They're recommending Dragon Claw and changing scales because Dragon Claw was the quicker bait move, and then you did the close combat nuke. But if you look at just pure damage and effects here, you have the same energy, 20 more damage on the Clanging Scales, and then at the same time a close combat lowers your defense by 2, and it's only by 1 with this Clanging Scales. So same energy, better damage, not as hurting in the effects. So just a straight up improvement for this Pokemon. So yes, it will rise in the rankings. It still has some problems just with its overall. We'll look at the IVs and not IVs, the stats, which is kind of what limits it to a certain extent. But yeah, should have play. But what people should be looking at is like what will happen if other Dragon Pokemons get this move, because this is a fantastic move just based on damage per energy, and the effects compared to other moves, right? So you're not gonna. If you get rid of this, you're not going to get a 45 energy move here that does much better. Yeah, in fact, I was looking at it this morning. There really is not a 45 energy move that's going to so I could say 45 for 120. There is nothing else here. 45 for 100, 45 for 100. These don't Frenzy Plant is a 45 for 100. Yes, it does not lower your defense like this one does, but 45 for 120 is a real freaking move here. So an absolute fantastic, but what does that mean for Kommo-o? In the Great League, as you can see, it's still 181. I think it suffers from a couple things, some things that you can just not fix. Its stats, it's got that sort of middle-ish stats. 123 attack, not a glass cannon. Hits okay, but not a glass cannon. So if you want like a glass cannon, your attack needs to be like 135, 140. So you got like sort of a middle attack. Your defense is decent, 138, but your stamina is quite low, 105. For 1800 overall. So as you can see, only getting to level 17 at optimal IVs here, which means it's a pretty low level, which means you probably don't have a lot of HP behind you. So even if your defense is okay with the low stamina and just the low overall health, you're just not gonna be able to take much. And then in terms of typing, before we go to the moveset, Dragon Fighting is kind of a weird one. It's interesting, and like you pick up a lot of resistances, but you also have a lot of weaknesses. So 5 weaknesses, double weak to Fairy, and single weakness to Dragon, Flying, Ice, and Psychic. So not an insignificant amount of weaknesses. They're not like the most prevalent in the Great League right now. Yes, there's Flying and Psychic. You're probably seeing a little less of those because of all the bug buffs. But Ice and Flying and Dragon is not too relevant in the Great League. And now you're seeing, look at the resistance though. Bug, Dark, Electric, Fire, Grass, Rock, and Water. Obviously, there's a ton of water in the meta. Bug got buffed like crazy. Electric, there's a lot more of those now. Some Fires trying to come after these bugs and steals that are now everywhere. So, you know what? You have some options here. And then the moveset. So, Dragon Tail is not a super fast charging move, only 3 energy, but the damage is pretty good. Like with Dragon Tail, you got pretty good output damage. And what made Kommo-o strong is if you're going to have a hard hitting move that does good damage per turn like Dragon Tail, but it's slow energy, you need quick moves, and that is exactly why you need to run Dragon Claw at 35 energy because that's the quickest you can get to. Only 12 turns to get to that for 60 damage. 60 damage is not great. But now, same thing. You used to just run close combat and get tier the 15. I'm going to do something in a second here because I really want to see something. So it's still ranked 180. 180 in the Great League. And if you look at the Great League battles, 21 and 21 record, but a low 466. And it's basically because even these wins that you're picking up are not amazing. Like, you're going to resist fire. You're going to resist... Dragon has a nicer resistances. You resist fire as a dragon. You resist water as a dragon. You resist grass as a dragon. So there's some of your wins here. But not like outstanding wins. Like 800s and 700s are good. But like 600 is kind of like just middle-ish wins. So even if some of these wins... Again, good, nice wins. Beating Dusclops. Beating Feraligatr. Beating Glycopod. Beating Typhlosion. Beating Ferret. Like, these are some nice meta Pokemon that you do pick up against. But offset with a lot of losses and a lot of really, really hard losses here. Ting-Tong, Weezing, Dedenne, now there's everywhere. Azuma. So all the fairies are going to just destroy you. And the Jumpluff, which is still everywhere. Gligar, which is making a comeback and stuff. So these are pretty hard losses. So what I wanted to see is, let me just put this in here. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. The problem is now Clanging Scales and Dragon Claw is... You need that Dragon Claw for bait to a certain extent. But the question is, do you? I just want to see. I don't even know what the answer is going to be here. Can you just run double nukes? One close combat double nuke, one Clanging Scales. When would you throw close combat that you cannot throw? There will only be like a couple instances. One off the top of my head is Ting-Tong, right? Clanging Scales is going to be very resisted, double resisted on the, maybe even triple on the Fairy and Steel, because Steel resists and Fairy resists, and maybe Fairy double resists. I'm not quite positive about that, but it's going to... definitely gonna be super resisted. But if you run a nuke there, but with a close combat will hit neutral in that situation. And generally with steals that resist your dragon, having a neutral or super effective in just pure steel case gives you more options. So in the one shield, when you can't bait, maybe you're gonna lose more matchups, and as you can see here, significantly more losses. So 21-21 versus 10 and 32. So that is a huge takedown here. But my guess is in the 0, probably way more coverage than you'll probably pick up here. Yes. So you pick up 4 wins, 22 and 20, up to a 26 and 16 with a better average overall. That does not surprise me. You're just giving yourself more ability to hit, and look at those wins you pick up. Stuff that is weak to fighting, or you can at least hit neutral on Fortress. Super effective on Dugong, Diggersby, Lapras, and Sandslash with close combat. So there is an argument to be made that you could potentially just run this as a closer with double nukes, as opposed to a Pokemon that has one bait move and the hard-hitting charge move. I think Clanging Scales needs to be on. I think it needs to be on, just given its damage per energy and just raw damage and only lowering your defense by 1. So I think it's a huge improvement. But you know what? There's an argument there for double nukes on this Pokemon. Ultra League, same thing. Oh, Ultra League is actually asking for the double nukes here. Here we go. In the one shield, double nukes is the option to go to 25 and 23. But again, look at that distribution. Like wins, more wins than losses, but the losses just really, really bad for that overall average. So it just means when you lose, you are going to lose real hard. And that's in the ones. Let's see if the zeros maybe look a little better. Yeah, see, in the zeros, not surprising when you have double nukes for coverage here. 35 and 13 with that 548 average. So this doesn't surprise me. Master League, we'll just quickly look at the rankings. It is 112. I think this is going to have a lot of play in like Master League Premier, because I think it probably rises to the top of Master League Premier, having Dragon Tail just for raw damage on the fast move, and then 2 nukes for coverage in the charge moves. I think Master League is going to be a Master League Premier, not Master League Open. Master League Premier, this thing's going to be a beast. So definitely get this Pokemon with this move with Master League Premier. Do you need it for Ultra League and Great League? The question is, like, what are your other Dragon options? And this is where I'm wondering, again, I do not play the main series game, so I do not know what other moves these Pokemon have. But as you can see here, Giratina in Ultra League has just been meta since season 1. Zygarde, just with its insane bulk, is now meta. And Dragalge now with Acid. Dragalge with Acid plays way, way better. I noticed that in the Great League. I'm not surprised that it's risen in the rankings with Ultra League. Guzzlord has gone down. Could you imagine, and again, I do not even know if Guzzlord would get this move ever, but could you imagine a Guzzlord with its more bulk having something like a Brutal Swing coming at 12 and then this nuke at 15? I think Guzzlord, again, I have no idea if it gets this move or not, but I imagine that Guzzlord with this move would absolutely go wild up the rankings, like a top meta Pokemon. So if you want to use so in the Ultra League, as you can see, it is the 4th ranked Pokemon. If you even have a Zygarde, I'll call it the 3rd ranked out of Pokemon that are probably attainable. I still like Guzzlord and I still like Dragonite in the Ultra League, having played some of those dragons in the Ultra League. In the Great League, honestly, there's not a ton of dragon use in the Great League. Dragalge, as you can see, has risen. Guzzlord, because so many more bugs, right? Less Psychic, which you resisted, more bugs, which you do take super effective against. Not surprising that you have gone down. It's funny that Hakmo-o is still ranked higher than Kommo-o just because of the bulk, right? I mentioned it was only level 17 with not so great stamina. But now you lower your attack from like the 125 to the 115, but you still keep your defense at like 130-ish, and now you add more stamina for 1900 overall with the same sort of fast moves here. Obviously, Brick Break is a much worse second move, but being able just to have that more bulk gives you the higher ranking there. So that is why Hakmo is above Kommo-o, even with the move here. So to wrap this up, do you need to play this community day? Yes, I think Kommo-o with this move is going to be a beast in Master League Premier. I think this Pokemon does have play in the Great League and the Ultra League, specifically when you run double nukes with shields down or even like a shield advantage. I think this Pokemon can cause a lot of problems given how fast you're getting to the moves and given how hard this new move hits. With Stab here, same type attack bonus, non-shadow, you're looking at 144 damage. 144 damage in the Great League is going to, especially with the Dragon Tail, if the Dragon Tail is neutral, 144 damage in a neutral situation will probably one-shot almost everything. Maybe some super bulky stuff like Diggersby and stuff will probably live in the zeros. But for most things, that Dragon Tail raw damage and then this 144 damage on Clanging Scales is probably going to one-shot the majority of things that it does neutral to. Now, again, there's Fairy, there's Steel, there is, what else resists Dragon? I'm sure maybe there's one of the things that resists Dragon. When that is resisted, it obviously is not going to be as strong of a Pokemon, but I do see as it's definitely improvement, right? It's just straight up same energy, more damage, better effects, straight up improvement. So do you need this Pokemon with this move? Yes, this Pokemon will need this move moving forward. If you want to use it, it is a huge improvement, and I think it will have play, and we'll see. Well, again, we'll see how the meta changes up. Right now there is a lot of Dedennes because the Parabolic Charge, although you resist electric, it does have access to Fairy, and you are double weak to Fairy, and then you have no move to throw out Dedenne. So if Dedenne is everywhere and Tink Tong is out there, and other Pokemon are out there that just resist Dragon, or again, if you're going to just run straight Dragon that just resists Dragon in general, you are drawing dead. This is why I think if I was running this Pokemon, I would run Close Combat with it. Even in the Great League, I would just play with it differently than the one shield even energy scenario. But that is it. Let me know your thoughts on this Pokemon if you're playing this community. Again, the Dragon community is one most people care about. I just saw Poke Daxi's. I'll do a global Go Fest overview. Looks like Frigbax is the dragon for this Go Fest, which means that it will be the dragon for the next June community day, because that's the way it works. Whatever they release as the shiny and new Pokemon, new dragon Pokemon, not new dragon, but like the dragon Pokemon that they focus on at Global Go Fest is the June community day dragon the following year. And that is why it is Jangmo this year, because that was the one that was released last year. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you guys in the next one.